everyone, Tony Winston here, working on the song Wave. And I did this video about 5 years ago, so I thought I'd do a new one. And this time I'm going to use a chart from the new real book rather than from the old real book. And I think this one is a little bit more accurate. And I especially want to look at the chord progression. Where is that chord progression? Right here, where it says the F sharp 13, F sharp 7 with a should be a sharp 5, and then we're going to have like a B9. I'm just going to go with B9, not even the sus there. We do the sus, and then B7 flat 9. And this is a real common chord progression. We're starting on the 3 chord, and of course a 3 chord is typically a minor chord. But when you're doing a 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, all those chords can be dominant chords. 3, 6, 2, 5. Even the 1 could be a dominant chord. Wouldn't work in this case. But a real common way of kind of having a inner line, doesn't even have to be an inner line, could be the main line, but a real nice kind of chromatic inner voicing is the 13 and the sharp 5, which the way I was taught, flat 13. This is the 13, this is a flat 13. It's certainly easier to think of that way, but if you realize that the sharp 5 and the flat 13 are the same thing, then you'll recognize this chord progression when you see it. And I recently did a video on Shagad, I don't know how to say it, so I'm going to call it No More Blues by the same composer, Jobim. And it's the same progression, like this. Here's our B9, put the 3rd in if you need it, but like that. So, it's a chromatic line. And it happens in so many songs. There's a lot of what I'll call typical jazz chord progressions. We all know the 2-5-1, the 3-6-2-5-1. But another real common one, it's not in this song, is to start up on the flat 5 and use a minor 7 flat 5, and then just kind of walk it down. All right, now right there we're getting to the 3 chords, so at that point it becomes a 3-6-2-5-1. It happens in a lot of songs. Christmas Time is here. Night and Day. Right here. So that's a real common progression as well. But I don't know how I got off track on that. Let's work on this song. The intro. Use the so what chord there, or just the way they're doing it. Keeping the D as a bass note, or switching maybe to something like that. Anyway, you got 4 bars of that, and then the melody. B flat diminished. A lot of times it's played over a D. There's a little diminished thing you can do there too. I think. I don't know how well it works, but I've heard it done. You work out something for it, okay? All right, D7, flat 9. Too much. So, I started with a suspended, then I flatted the 9, then I got to the 3rd. These are little ways to add a little more reharmonization to the tune. And for some reason, it doesn't sound right there. goes. Sure is. And then now we get to the chord progression in question. Yeah, so just to voice this. Root, 7, 3, and the 13. Notice there's no 5. Then we're going to flat that. And then right to the B. If you want it suspended, do it like that. If you don't, do it like this. All right? And, that's part of that inner line there. And there, I think, putting the 5 into the E chord is a good idea because it continues that line. And there at the end, it's a blues line. Now, I've had all kinds of thoughts recently about the blues, and I'm going to just relate a little of them to you here. I presented it with like 2 scales, the blues scale, and I asked my friend Rick Hinkle, I said, what do you think? I mean, how do you think of the blues scale? And he said to me, and he's a great blues player. I mean, he knows every blues song in the world. And he said to me, what's the blues scale? Because I think really good blues guitarists, they don't think about the blues scale. They think about blues riffs, motifs, little, things they know. And for instance, if you use the blues scale here, or this one that's sometimes called the sweet scale, I just heard that the other day by Jeremy Siskind, but I call it the happy blues scale. And it's really the A minor blues scale, just used within the context of the key of C. All right, so you got those 2 blues scales, but what about a riff like this? All right? I mean, that uses notes from both blues scales, all right? So you might as well just combine the 2 scales together, and then you get every note of the scale except for this one, and that one, all right? Because you got, all right? And then from the other blues scale, and then that's just a passing tone there, so skip that one if you want to. And you got that, so. And then I use that one too. So I think really, and actually I saw that Amy Nolte has come out with some videos or something about the, improvising without using scales. And it's really more about just having melodic ideas and using those rather than thinking in terms of scales. But, it doesn't hurt to know and use both ideas. All right, back to the song. Jeez Louise. And that also reminds me, too, that, so many of the great early Beatles songs, the harmony is kind of taken from, the Great American Songbook, but with the element of the blues thrown in there. Anyway, let's get to the bridge. Now, it's really a 2-5-1. I think it's been presented that way in other real or other fake books or whatever you want to call them. But it's more accurate to do it this way. And here we have the C7th, but with B flat in the bass, which really gives you a nice sound. I don't know what that 9th is about. It doesn't sound right to me. Maybe because of the melody there. And then, A minor, very similar to F. It's the 3 chords substituting for the 1 chord. And then F minor, Now it says B flat sus, but what is B flat sus? It's just an F minor over a B flat. So, you know, it's like an F minor there. And then you get to B flat 9, however, with the A there. I guess the 9 works pretty good. Yeah, put the 9 in right there. I think really, if you use the 9, you want to leave out the root. Sounds better with just the 9 there. Let's go B flat sus. And you could do like E flat, you know, because that's what a 2-5-1 would be there, but we're using G as a substitute for that. That's the chord. I disagree with this melody, though. It might be there. I listened for it, but it's just kind of hidden in the background, and I think you want to just go. So. Listen to it real quick, see if you can hear it. Yeah, the chord is definitely the chord indicated here, which is, you know, that flat 13 chord again with the flat 9, right? Very kind of common chord. But then you got to do the melody. Yeah. So somebody thought maybe, you know, thought, well, that B flat's going to fit the chord better, but what about that? You know, that doesn't fit it either. So it's just really. Piano, it might be nice to keep that melody down nice and low because it sounds better. The problem is how do you get the chords in there? Well, you have to make the chords very sparse. So now that I've learned the rhythm correctly, I just love it. And you might play that chord a little bit early, the G minor 6 maybe, I don't know. Let's see if it works. For me, I don't think they do it that way in the arrangement, though. All right, I've got to teach in 5 minutes for a real live student here, so I wish you all a happy weekend, a happy week, a happy year, a happy life, and thanks for subscribing and staying in touch. See you next time.